in the email, right? Oh,
I did not. Welcome to Monday night, everybody. We are live.
Hi, it's the Roundtable. Yep.
It's the Roundtable.
Okay.
Everyone say hello.
Douglas, I put the new password in Facebook messages. Okay, so that's for the Gmail. It just whenever you want to run.
I think it recognizes me now enough because I've logged in enough. It just assumes that I'm you. I was telling that to Joe beforehand. I was like, I don't even go to that anymore. I just kind of I click on StreamYard, go right there. I can see what's going on.
That's awesome. Don't restart your computer, dude, or it's all gone. Okay, so everybody, we got a lot to cover tonight. We will introduce Joe. This is our new member of the Roundtable. We're super excited to have him. Welcome, Joe. He's been interacting with the Monday night show, so we said, why don't you just come on? Hi, Doug. Nice to see you. I see you in chat. Okay, nice to see you, Doug. Very good. 2 Dougs in one room.
Doug who?
Right.
I am the one true Doug. Thou shalt have no other Dougs before me.
Actually, the good Doug, which is the one in chat, makes up for the ornery Doug, which is the pest in Roundtable. And these two guys even each other out, the Dougs. Hi, Daniel. Nice to see you, too. Malpal, you're here. Mitchell.
Good evening.
Where's Meryl?
Hi, Andy.
Hi.
Hi, dude. I love all your topics that you provide all the time. This is great. You guys, it's awesome. So let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, started off with some news. Today we had a game postponed. It happened to be the Padres game. Are they playing Colorado? I just saw that tomorrow Dinelson Lamet is going to be scheduled to pitch. I didn't know for sure if I should put him in or what's going on. He's actually on my bench right now and with his buddy Kyle Hendricks and Luis Castillo, their other friend. And we'll see what happens there. But yeah, so that was postponed. And then the other big news is we are going to talk about some players' prospects to stash because Joe his specialty is dynasty leagues. So we're going to be talking probably every Monday night that he's with us for sure. We'll talk about some dynasty stuff. Kalenic came up today. Okay. So when I was doing my homework, looking at, answering the question about when are these really popular prospects coming up? There's 3 of them. And what are they going to do for you when they do come up? It's Wander Franco, Kalenic, and Mackenzie Gore. These are 3 very popular prospects that everybody knows. And you get the question a lot, what should I do? Should I get him now? Blah, blah, blah. So we're going to talk about that. But everybody's aware that Mr. Kalenic came up today, okay, right?
Really? I offered Blake Snell even up 1-for-1 to a guy for Kalenic, and he turned me down.
I probably would too.
I mean, are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me?
I offered Blake Snell, who sucked lately, for Kalenic even up, and he turned me down.
Okay,
and he was right. And you know what I did wrong?
What did you do wrong?
If I offered him C.J. Cron, he would have given me Kalenic.
So you're getting rid of
what I did was, here's a lesson. I told him how much Kalenic was worth.
Oh, you told him?
This is how I told him. I told him how much Kalenic was worth by offering a top-tier starting pitcher for Kalenic, totally unproven. If I'd have offered C.J. Cron, he would have bit on it. It's my bad.
This is precisely why. No, what do you mean you're bad? You have no idea what Kalenic's going to do, dude. And you must have the best pitching. You must not have any of these disappointing pitchers that are everywhere.
I understand, Andrea. You don't ever want to show you want somebody too much.
I get that, but you should never, ever trust in a prospect this much. So I know that Joe is going to argue with me, and that's part of the way, that's part of the fun of this show.
We hear from Joe.
Joe is a dynasty guy, and I'm sure, I don't even know you yet, so I shouldn't judge you, but I have a feeling that we're going to differ in opinion a lot on prospects. What do you think of Kalenic? Is he worth Blake Snell?
Absolutely. I have Snell in the league I'm in now and traded him about a month and a half into the season. Just doesn't look like the Blake Snell that I've seen. And he hasn't pitched 6 innings. I think I heard a stat since 2019. Yeah. It was July.
Yeah. That's true. He doesn't go deep into games, but that's because he was. I mean, look where he comes from, Tampa Bay. So anyway, I mean, I'd let Malpal stick up for Blake Snell, but he doesn't really like Blake Snell either. So Malpal,
I would take McClanahan rest of the season over Snell if he's not getting 6 innings.
McClanahan.
I would ask the first question. I think you have to ask what kind of league is this? Is it
Mine?
Mitch,
No.
is this a redraft or what is this? Is it a redraft or dynasty league?
Mitchell,
What?
what kind of league is it, dude?
It's a 12-team 5x5 mix.
Okay.
But
So
what
is it a dynasty league?
It is a dynasty league, guy.
then I think I would never do that trade if I'm the Kalanick owner. But if you're playing for this year and you got plenty of hitting and you need pitching, then I wouldn't do it. So it really depends on your.
Now, pal, he needed pitching. He had 21 points in his pitching category. He needed pitching desperately. So what I did was I sent a message telling him how great I think Kalanick's going to be. If I'd have offered him something less, he would have taken it. I'm telling you.
Douglas, are you going to stick up for Snell or what?
No, I'm not going to consider Snell. Snell, I mean, he wasn't that good of a pitcher ever in my mind. He did have the Cy Young season. And this year, when batters are batting 233, I know they don't have the name recognition that Snell has, but I can get the production of in a 12-team league. I can find the production that Snell's giving me on the waiver wire with guys that weren't that necessary in years past. I was trying to come up with some names like Nick Pivetta will give me those numbers. Jay Happ will give me those numbers.
Well, anybody's gonna. Okay, you could go on a list. I mean, who's gonna?
Who's
seriously
gonna give you
worse? Nobody. Like,
yeah,
there's
that's the thing. There's a lot of pitchers that are pitching okay this year. That's all I'm saying.
So okay, so let's get back on track because we're gonna go over a little bit of more of Kalanick in that segment that we talk about. Wander Franco, Kalanick, and Mackenzie Gore, 3 very popular young prospects. Okay, that we could probably expect this year anyway. So Douglas had a great one. I think we'll start with this one. Who had a better career? Now this is, I mean, let's try to base this off more than just the numbers, even though I was the first one to go and like compare their numbers. Miggy or Pujols?
Yeah, well, when I proposed the question, I was thinking in terms of like it was caged in the terms of like if for fantasy baseball players, who was more the guy, Albert Pujols or Miggy Cabrera? That's the way. Now, admittedly, at the beginning of their career, there was Alex Rodriguez, and at the end of the career, there's Mike Trout. But then that middle part, who was the guy you would have rather had, Pujols or Cabrera? It's not really about the numbers.
It's not close. It's Pujols by a mile.
How is it not about the numbers? I mean, you know,
here's the thing, Andy.
Yes.
It was ignorant. They had already given Pujols a 10-year personal services contract let me finish, to kiss babies and sign autographs. Why would you jettison a guy with only a few months left in his career when you have already signed him to a 10-year personal services agreement? It's ignorant.
They were so rude.
It's not ignorant. It's ignorant.
Rude too. It's rude too. It's rude too. But yes, it's ignorant. It's ignorant because I think he came with that part. Didn't he come with that part of the contract where he gets all that money after?
First of all, if I were a GM, I would never sign a contract with any player in Major League. I don't care if it's Jesus Christ Superstar. I would not give any player in Major League Baseball more than 4 or 5 years. Period. Ever. That's Mitch.
Okay, I agree with you. I mean,
it's bad business practice. Bad business practice. Look at Jordan Zimmerman. Look at Ian Desmond. I could go on and bore you for hours.
I know.
Judge.
I agree with you, dude.
Millions of dollars for nothing.
So let's compare just these 2 players, though, Miggy or Albert Pujols. And you can't say that numbers don't matter at all. If you ask me, like, who would I rather have had in fantasy, I would have rather had Albert Pujols. But, you know, I feel like Miggy is such the face of Detroit. I hope that they don't do the same. Can you even imagine? I'm not even
They will not do that. Detroit, the Ilitch family will not do that.
the numbers are super similar, to be honest with you. The numbers are really close to each other. And like Miggy has been able to get on base and maintain a decent average, but Albert Pujols is still hitting home runs. And, he was still playing. They're both just over the hill. Anyway, if I was going to choose one, I would say that I wish that Albert Pujols would have stayed in St. Louis.
Let me tell you something about the.
And then he could have been like a Yadier Molina, and then it would have even been the best. He would have definitely, hands down, been the guy. But Miggy is like.
I love Miggy, but Pujols is better. Let me tell you something about the Ilitch family.
Okay.
The Ilitch family paid the rent for Rosa Parks for years in Detroit. When she was going to be evicted and couldn't afford her rent, the old man that owned Little Caesars paid that woman's rent for years.
That's nice.
That's what I think about the Ilitch family. They are terrific.
Who is this? The Detroit people? Okay, good. The Detroit people.
They have renovated all of downtown Detroit. They created a new basketball arena, the Little Caesars Arena.
Great.
They have absolutely regentrified all of downtown Detroit. I absolutely admire that family.
I know that her house turned into a museum. Her old house.
I think it had.
So, Doug, Malpal, what do you think? Had a better career? I mean, Pujols or Miggy?
From 2001 to 2010, that's a decade. Pujols was the best player in baseball. So that's my answer.
Their number, I know, it's all based on numbers. This is all based on logic here. Okay. Look,
you can't make a living between the difference between Pujols and Henry Aaron. You can't make a living.
Man, Joe, what do you think of the deal? I mean, the whole getting getting fired has to be part of this conversation first. I mean, to me, he was 2 hits away from having the most hits of a first baseman. And I just feel like he did not deserve to go out this way. Even A-Rod, dude, they managed to find a way to tell him that he could stick around and coach. I mean, isn't Albert Pujols worth keeping around and on your team? We're going to move up Pujols over to the coaching, and then everybody doesn't have bad feelings, but it was just a bitch, especially when they're going to call John Jay to replace him. Brandon Marsh is hurt. Yeah.
Do we know the whole story behind?
No, we do not know the whole story.
Isn't there the story out that he called out Joe Madden? I believe there was a story he called out Joe Madden on a lineup decision for being out.
I read that.
Joe's right. Something happened.
I read that.
I believe he called out Joe Madden for not being on the lineup, and I think 2 or 3 days later he was released. I believe that's what came out.
Joe Madden is an asshole. Okay.
Pujols wanted to be in.
I have any strong opinions.
Pujols wanted to be in the lineup when Ryan Yarbrough was pitching because he owned Yarbrough, and he was told to be on the bench. When he went to Madden said that he told Pujols that this wasn't his call. Like someone else made a decision, he's not playing.
Oh, bullshit.
Okay,
that's Joe Madden's call. Joe Madden's all over every team. That's his call.
Joe Madden needs to get called out, so I'm glad that Pujols did it. But that's not a good reason to get rid of somebody that's been on.
I think it was a decision on their side. Like Pujols, they paid him a lot in Los Angeles, and he never really produced at the level of what they were paying in Los Angeles.
He had several good years, Douglas.
He had years, but he had hope. He was better. He was better with the Cardinals. Had the Cardinals held on to him,
no doubt.
There would have been this feeling of like, this is our guy. Let's take care of him.
Yeah.
In Los Angeles, I think there was a feeling like this is a guy we overpaid for, part of our problem, and they knew they were going to part ways at the end of the year.
He was supposed to be the guy that helped Trout get to the playoff run, and he just never helped them get over. I can see them. They have prospects they want to move up. They've got Marsh.
Marsh is
hurt currently rehabbing.
Don't even.
Is Marsh hurt? I thought he was.
Marsh has got his labrum. I think he just starts AAA here in this month.
No, he was he was assigned
Pujols.
He was assigned to the alternate site.
Okay.
But I did see Miggy when he was younger in the Marlins, and I did see the things he did for that franchise. It was sad to see him go, but it's definitely Pujols. But from a business decision, seeing Pujols coming up, I mean, it was it did not help the team on the field, and they have a outside shot at the AL West this year. I don't think they're the best team in the AL West, but their pitching's a little lacking.
If something had to happen, this is my last thing. Something had to happen because this is not that they have some youngster that's like burning it up in minor leagues and he's ready to come up and he has no place to play, so we got to get rid of Pujols because he was being in the lineup every day because they have other problems with hitters that aren't hitting. But Jared Walsh was playing the outfield, Pujols was playing first base, and he was in great shape. You could just tell that he's the oldest player in baseball. I guess now it's Nelly Cruz, Malpal. Now Nelly Cruz is the oldest.
I mean, Pujols does have like 7 home runs this year, a little bit more than some other power hitters currently.
So, okay, moving on. So, what do you guys think about a sophomore slump? What do you think?
Could we do something real quick before we move on? I can't corroborate the Jared Clinic being called up story. I think that John Heyman got pranked.
Oh, really? Douglas, this makes so much sense because I could not believe my ears. I mean, we overheard the GM on that team.
We would hate people to listen to our show, go grab Clinic thinking he's up, and we don't have it corroborated.
Where did I find this, though? I found this somewhere that's reliable because I don't really go anywhere that's not reliable. Did you guys see the news of that?
I didn't see anything past on my phone for that.
I haven't seen anything.
Who are you talking about?
Jared Clinic coming up today.
Clinic is coming up. He's been called up by Seattle.
Okay.
I tried to trade for him, and the guy probably went on the
I would say, where did you read that? I can't find it anywhere.
Let me check mine.
I saw on I get Roto Baller. I'm on a half a dozen different.
Okay, it's called Sportsnaut. I have it here. Seattle Mariners call up.
He has been called up.
Okay, hold on a second. So yes, I think he is. It's the Mariners PR put it on their Twitter. It says Mariners roster moves. Jared Clinic selected from AAA Tacoma, and Taylor Trammell was optioned to AAA Tacoma.
Exactly. Yeah, I saw it. I think it might have been Roto Baller. I can't remember.
So this is actually called Mariners PR. I got to go to Twitter and find out if they're even a legit.
I'm on Mariners PR. They mentioned him hitting like 444 already and tearing it up. So I'm not shocked he got a.
No, he's not here because this account is suspended. So I clicked on that tweet and it says it's suspended. This is just a made up something because that's what it means, right?
Yeah, I read a story earlier this week that said that that the Mariners
or
are
am I suspended? Maybe it's me. Am I suspended from Twitter? I could be.
Mariners PR.
Okay. So check it out, Douglas. Find out what's going on. Let's move on to the idea of a sophomore slump. Some people think that it's real. Some people don't believe in it. But this year we do see quite a few sophomore jinx. Is it jinx the same as a slump, Mitchell?
No, it's called adjustments. You know what it is?
Yes.
Look at Cuba dude. They figured out how to throw that kid a ball that he can't hit.
Yeah.
I think it's the inside pitch he'll kill you on, but he will fall off the ledge on an low outside pitch. Akil Badu. The pitchers are smart. This is why you use the iPads. This is why. The people that I have in mind are Kyle Lewis, Alec Boehm, who I protected, and I think the world of Alec Boehm, but he's scuffling.
Yep.
And I had a third guy. I'm trying to remember who the third guy was.
Kyle Lewis, Arozarena, and Alec Boehm.
Randy Arozarena. I should not have kept him. I knew he was going to suck. And I kept him anyway.
What do you mean? You didn't know he was going to suck, dude. You didn't.
I knew he was going to regress, Andrea.
Okay, that's different, dude. I mean,
but even if he regresses a little bit, the numbers would still be outstanding.
His numbers are pedestrian right now, Joe. Very pedestrian.
No, his numbers now. But if he regressed a little bit from the World Series time or the playoff time, he'd still be a great hitter. Believe me, I have somebody that drafted him first in our overall dynasty league because it's very thin because of COVID. And he's regretting that because number 2 is Corbin Burns. So not going well for him right now.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So the sophomore jinx, the sophomore slump, Lenny, when I first met Lenny, I remember exactly what he told me that it was, is when and I think it's kind of changed since then, but he said it's these young rookies who come up and they aren't willing to make adjustments because they think that they're perfectly fine. And, like they already know everything at that age. So, and then the next time they come back, baseball is really a game of adjustments. And just like Mitchell,
adjustments.
Yeah. If you can't adjust along with the rest of the league, the pitchers will figure you out where your holes are. A couple other ones, like I noticed, I'm not sure if these even are counted as sophomores, but God, it's like the last few years have been so weird and whacked out. Bobby Dalbeck I have on the list, and Ryan Mountcastle. I know that Mountcastle was hitting like close to 300 last year. He was like one of those good hitters for average. This year he's hitting like 220. So
he's hurting. You're right.
Whether it's the inability to adjust or that they just don't feel like they need to work too hard.
I think it's a combination of two things. The pitchers make adjustments. The hitters need to make counter adjustments. It's just that simple.
Yes.
Ryan Mountcastle is going to be an outstanding major league player, but right now he's scuffling, and he's going to have a tough time of it because they have figured out how to throw to the kid, and he will be all right. Over the long term, I still like Ryan Mountcastle.
Okay, what about, are you deciding that you don't like a Rosarina? I mean, or Alex
Rosarina, Joe has a point. A Rosarina can regress 25% and still be a 2020 outfielder. Joe is right about that. He is right about that.
I don't look at 2020 as a whole. I don't make any decisions on that because the COVID shortened year. I don't take anything that happened. The whole players that were supposed to hit good hit 150. The ones that hit 350 or 360 are now sitting on my bench just with one home run and just. Oh.
No, I was talking to the chat room. Sorry. Okay.
But COVID, I think, is an exception that sophomore slump. I don't even count last year.
Yeah, if you think about it, last year there was only 60 games, and so a guy that started out, especially like games like Dahlbeck or whatever, it's like they only played in like 20, 30 games. This could be just the natural first round of trying to figure things out.
Yeah,
the sophomore slump means something different based on the fact that 2020 was only 60 games.
Because you may only have gotten
Okay, let's just say in general, though, there is a such thing as a sophomore slump. It's very real. And when you're talking about young players, you don't have anything but last year to look at. So to say that you don't look at last year at all, I mean, I could understand if you're talking about like over a career, I'm just going to let him off the hook for that year. But these guys that we're talking about right now are so young. And if they got 25, 30 games in, that's what they would have seen, at the major league. But there was no minor leagues. There was no stats.
Nothing.
There's really nothing that we have except for when they were in the majors. And I think that quite a few of them got called up to the majors because they didn't have anything else to do with these guys. And they wanted them to like get in games. Malpal, do you believe in the sophomore slump or what?
Well, I'm looking at these. I disagree with the premise. These 5 guys are having a sophomore slump. I strongly disagree with that premise that they are. I think there's a couple things here. First of all, when you're going in the draft season, you always got to check in on guys who have played that have had less than 130 at bats or less than 200 at bats. Your expectations versus reality, and none of these guys are Mike Trout. None of these guys are Ronald Acuna. They all had pretty good, kind of crazy years last year. But to expect that these guys are superstars, any of these guys, is ridiculous, in my opinion. They just don't have the pedigree in them in their minor league history. Second of all, the league batting average this year is 232. I think that's still what it is, the last I checked yesterday. So all these guys are hitting above league average except for Dahlbeck. So I don't, and a guy like Kyle Lewis, he was out with a knee injury. He's hitting 260 about, hit 3 home runs. You got Mountcastle hit another one tonight. He's heating up. He's a 260 type hitter. So I don't, people, that's probably where he's going to end up. That's about where he's at now. He's like 240 now. Guys like the guy from Tampa. He was a pretty good prospect, but he was not a elite prospect. He went crazy last year. He got hot in the World Series, and he was overdrafted. I said that from day one.
A Rosarino.
Okay, let me ask you a question. So, I'm glad that you are disagreeing here. Do you disagree
Strongly.
with the idea that there is such a thing as a sophomore slump? Are you just saying that these players aren't going through a slump because this is how good they're going to be? Like, we're not talking about Acuna here, or do you believe in the idea of a sophomore slump?
I think it's a fun term to categorize and generalize when guys are having problems in their second year. It's all the game's a continual adjustment, and the thing that might give them a sophomore slump is because they're young and it takes them longer to adjust. I agree with that, but I think to say that these guys are having a sophomore slump, I think is just wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just added a couple. Yeah. So really, it's mostly about the idea of a sophomore slump. What do you think of it? You told us what you think. I think we all really agree on what it is. The fact that these players have not either adjusted or haven't decided to try to. For whatever reason, they're being figured out.
Can I say one more thing?
Of course.
Yeah. You also got to know 2019 had the live ball. Yeah, stats were inflated. People got called up for hitting 45 home runs in the minor league, get called up. Nothing happens in 19. 20 is a loss. And then 2021 is probably their first adjustment to not being a super prospect hitting, 40-40 in the minors.
Yeah,
I think that's
Go ahead,
true.
Remember Van Meter, 35 home runs, and
I know I don't even remember him doing that.
He was a shortstop for the Reds. Killed it, 35 home runs, and comes to the minor leagues, and there's no power because no juice ball playing out west.
I agree with what Joe's saying, but I would further go back to what I'm saying. You have to analyze that they're slumping from what? From what they did the year before. So you have to analyze what did they really do the year before? Are they slumping from 100 at bat, phenomenal run, or are they slumping from a season where they had 600 at bats, they had a full season that they did well, and now they're just tanking in their second year?
So how long does it take for us to get? How many at bats do you feel like you need before you feel like a youngster has had time to now he's who he is? Without going ups and downs like that. What you're talking about?
What do they say? 1,000 plate appearances? Is that what they said?
Yeah, about. It depends on which stat you're looking at, but. Okay, Mitchell, did you talk about did Mitchell talk about the sophomore slump? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, moving on. The curious case of second base. Do you like that rhyme? I came up with it my own self.
Just going through the second baseman, I just noticed a lot of
You're right, dude. You're right. Some of the people you didn't even put on your list, but all of these second basemen are slump. Okay, I'm not going to say slump. Malpal is technically right. When you say slump, it should be something less than what you're normally seeing from them.
Performing below expectation.
Hello, all of them. Ozzy Albies.
Baseball in general.
Altuve. Some of these guys like Tommy La Stella is striking out a ton more than he was last year. I love it. RotoWire added a thing you can look at the difference in strikeout percentage and walk rate. So, he's won Tommy La Stella all of a sudden. Now, let me clarify this. I think that nobody should be freaking out about anything at this moment, even though Luis Castillo has literally pushed me to the very edge of the cliff, okay?
I'm thinking of trading for him right now.
This is probably the best time to get him.
I'm getting ready to make an offer for him.
Let's talk about buy or trade. Buy or sell.
I'm going to offer Kirilloff for Castillo.
Who?
Kirilloff for Luis Castillo.
I think it's a tough trade to make because right now Kirilloff is at a point where his injury is such that in 2 days we may hear that he's done for the season.
Well, the rumor is surgery or he stays, I believe.
That's what I'm saying. He needs to take a few swings. So I don't know how I could make that trade. Like I couldn't accept Kirilloff as much as I like him.
Kirilloff
until I know the answer to that question, whether he's done for the year.
If you're out of the race, Kirilloff is the kind of guy you want.
Yeah, if you're out of the race, but are you out of the race already? And
nobody is. Nobody
in May.
I'm in a league with 4 teams, The top team is 109. There are 4 teams between 109 and 108.
Is this a dynasty league that we're talking about, dude? Are you?
Yes.
You know, you have to make that clear when you're talking about this.
Well, you kill off. You don't fool with them if you're not a dynasty league. But if you're a dynasty league and you're sucking hind tit, I would treat Casillo in a heartbeat for a cure off.
Okay, let me address a question in the chat room real quick. Okay. It says Matt Hooper, our friend Matt Hooper, who we're always trying to help win his fantasy league, but he likes to say that he's done and he's doing that, and then he comes and then we lift him up. Okay, Matt Hooper, did you just say that you were looking to pick up Duffy for McKinstry or McKinstry? Are you saying either or Danny Duffy or McKinstry?
I think McKinstry's going to be good.
I think he might be talking about Matt Duffy because we're talking about 2 hitters.
Yeah, I don't think it's McKinstry.
What'd you say, Joe?
McKinstry's on the injured reserve or IL, if I believe.
Yeah, I believe he is.
He might be talking about Matt Duffy of the Cubs because it doesn't seem.
No.
Is it Duffy, the starting pitcher from the Royals?
It has to be, in my opinion.
I don't trade the Kansas City pitcher for McKinstry.
I'm not dumping Duffy at this point.
He wants to know if we all agree.
Joe, when did McKinstry go on the IL?
Okay, let's clarify your question. Matt Hooper, clarify your question.
He played a great game last week.
Okay.
So are we?
He's on the IL. He's on the IL right now. I know that. I don't know when he went, but he's on right now.
I didn't notice that. I would have benched him this week. I wish I'd have known that.
Yeah, he's saying Matt Duffy on the Cubs. He said that in the chat room.
Okay.
Okay. All right. That makes it better.
Matt Duffy. Oh, holy shit. Does he? I don't even. Are you kidding me?
You're making that choice.
He is playing well for Chicago, to be fair about it.
Yeah, I watch a lot of Cubs games. I think he's a pretty reasonable play, especially if you're looking for stolen bases in a roto type league. The truth is, the third base is really not deep, and if you're in like a 15-team league, like the best guys on the waiver wire at third base are guys like Charlie Culberson and Matt Duffy, and if you get him for $12, you're actually happy.
Well, Duffy's playing better than Alec Bohm.
Hold on a minute. He said, I don't know if he's trading McKinstry for Matt Duffy, but we know what you're going to get out of.
I think he's picking up Duffy and waiving McKinstry.
McKinstry,
No. I think that Matt Duffy, he is a freaking replacement level player. That is all he's going to be. He does not hit for power, dude.
If you're in a position where you're rostering McKinstry's a replacement level player too. You're looking for a replacement level guy.
And he's got an oblique now, which is gonna probably be around for a while.
I don't think that
who has an oblique.
Zach McKinstry. If that's who I'm talking about, the utility guy in the Dodgers.
But a low grade one, because he was able to sneeze and he didn't feel anything. That means something. This guy, is he not any good? I thought everybody was raving.
No, he's well rounded, but I would take a chance on
I actually like what the other utility guy on the Dodgers is doing. It might be available. Matt Beatty. He's hitting really well, and he's got a bit of power.
If you played Matt Beatty 500 plate appearances, he'll hit 35 home runs.
Yeah, I would take him over both those guys if he was available, and I imagine he might be.
First of all, he doesn't have a position when everybody gets healthy. You know, Bellinger is not healthy. AJ Pollock is not healthy.
Have you seen AJ Pollock in the field? How bad he is this year?
He's always bad defensively, but
is the guy after just third base? Because Josh Rojas is probably available.
Josh Rojas is great, and his friend, the other Rojas, Miguel in Florida, is great too. Both of these two Rojas.
I would take both of those Rojases over them.
Isn't it nice to have two Rojases that are both playing good at the same time?
I would take Brandon Crawford. I like Brandon Crawford.
Yeah, Brandon Crawford.
He's been turning it up.
Yay, Unholy Toledo. Hello, dude. Meet Merrill Hartson. That's Mitchell's brother. Merrill, meet Unholy Toledo. And, you already know everybody else. Okay. So, Malpal,
You've seen Mitchell, you've seen Merrill. We're twins.
Yes, they're twins. I mean, you know what I mean. Malpal, it's your turn. You're so polite.
I'm Duffy and
anything. Yeah.
If it's a weekly league, you need a player.
In NL only, it probably makes sense.
I take Duffy over McKinstry just because he's going play more.
None of these players are great, right? But McKinstry,
neither's going to lead to a championship.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
I did see this as a Cub fan. McDuffie has played in 28 games out of the 33 that they played this year. Now, admittedly, most of them is like a pinch hitter, a pinch runner, but he gets in the games.
Yes, he gets in, but he doesn't do anything, dude. I just wonder why Matt Hooper is wanting these two when he should just go get somebody off the waiver that is like,
Hey, Matt's good about listing the available players. You should list them.
Yes, list your options here. Let us know a little more about your
situation. I think in a vacuum, I would take Duffy over McKinstry. No one else involved.
Dude, are you kidding me? I'm picking up Evan Longoria and just forgetting those two completely. Right? You pick up the guy that's hitting. That's all I know.
If he's available.
Take the guy that's hitting home runs at this point. Because there's not many of them doing it.
Okay.
But in Duffy's defense, he stole 3 bases this week. You know what I mean? That's
this
something.
Week he stole 3 bases.
Last 8 games or something. He's actually been a guy that's had stolen bases in his repertoire his whole time. His problem has been health. When he was a rookie like 5 years ago on the Giants, which was probably his last healthy season, he was 3rd in National League Rookie of the Year voting, and he was 12-12 on stolen bases. That was his best year ever, but also was the most games he's ever played.
Okay, so Douglas, Dylan Cease, right? The White Sox starting pitcher. Some people heading into the season really liked this guy. I read an article in The Athletic talking about he could be Cy Young. And so anyways, our producer Bennett Carroll is a super big White Sox fan, and he has not ever liked Dylan Cease. Now, here's what he's doing. He's striking out 11.87 batters per 9 innings in 30 innings and 6 starts. Okay, so about 5 innings a start. He's striking out batters like crazy. His ERA is 2.37. Okay, that's the first time it's been under 4. And look, he's got a strikeout percentage of 32% and a ground ball percentage of 36.
I've owned it for 6 years in Dynasty. So
but you're biased then, so I don't want to hear what you.
Well, I've owned him, and I had him when he was on the Cubs. His stuff's been the same. It's just been the walks. That's his biggest, and his fastball's hittable. That's been his biggest issue for forever.
His walks is based on his command. His command has always been shoddy. And yes, he has been known to be an excellent pitcher. He's got a couple different good pitches, but he could never get his command down. Mitchell, are you going to buy or sell on Dylan Cease?
Dylan Cease is a stud.
Okay.
Dylan Cease, I screwed up on 2 pitchers on the waiver wire. Dane Dunning was one of them, and Dylan Cease was the other one. I offered $7, and he went for $8. One of the biggest screw-ups I've made all year. Dylan Cease is a stud.
Okay. So are you trading for? Are you going to keep him, or are you going to buy him?
No, I don't have Dylan Cease. I tried to get him, and I didn't offer enough money.
If you have a choice, if you either have to trade for him or trade him away, buy low or sell high. Which one are you going to do?
I'm keeping him. I think Cease is a real deal.
Wait, you can't buy low on Cease.
I don't think you could sell high on Cease now because
I know, right? Okay, so I should be.
And you can't buy low on him right now because
no, it was backwards. It was completely backwards. So I'm talking about Luis Castillo because I can't wait to get to him. I don't know what to do.
I'm getting ready to make it.
Yeah, bring the whole room down. Let's talk Luis Castillo.
Luis Castillo has nowhere to go but up.
My team has somewhere to go.
He has nowhere to go, Andy, but up. You're not going to get anything for him of value.
No, I agree with you. I am not going to sell him because I refuse to.
But you can bench him until he gets his. Let me tell you what Luis Castillo will happen. When the temperature turns 98 degrees, Luis Castillo will be lights out.
I just don't know whether to bench him or not. He's benched right now. He is.
Well, I would bench him until he gets his act together.
But he's going to Colorado, so I hope he does.
He's killing you right now.
That makes it easy to bench him going to Colorado.
Between him and Kyle Hendricks on my Tout Wars team together on that team, it's a bunch of bullshit. And along with Lamet, too. Lamet's my other great pitcher.
Poor Andy on your towers, Andy. This is sad.
You know what is really? I gotta just please let me rant for a minute, you people. Dude, every week I lose by like 15 points. And I should not be losing because the run differential, it's the points differential in leagues. My points scored against me are like people are scoring like way more points against me than anybody else because I mean if we ended the league today and we just went by the number of points that you've earned and the number of points, I'm third place and I can't fucking win to save my life. Last week I lost by like 12 points. This week I had on the very last day I had Kyle Hendricks and he had Adam Wainwright and I was like, I already dropped Adam Wainwright too. Like
Wainwright
twice in that league.
You know what's helping Wainwright? The seam on the ball is helping Wainwright. He's not even throwing fastballs.
He had
20% of his pitches are fastball.
Let me finish. Adam Wainwright is a stud. Let me tell you, he has learned to adjust with his older age, and he does not have to throw the ball that hard. He has been able to manipulate it so it works for him. I don't know if it's the ball, but he was great in spring training, and that's exactly why I put him on my team to begin with. And then as soon as he had a horrible first outing, I dropped him. I think I picked him up and dropped him again since then. And this guy that I go up against, he has him. He beats me for the week with this freaking Adam Wainwright.
Wainwright was 2 starts last week, and his
I
first
have
start was
Luis
actually pretty
Robert,
bad.
dude, on my
He
team.
was bad.
I have Byron Buxton on my team. Luis Robert, Byron Buxton, George Springer, Lourdes Gurriel. I have all of these.
That's terrible.
The fact that I'm even scoring points and keeping up with the rest of these Joneses is beyond me. So that's why I'm just like.
Can I ask an off-the-wall question?
I don't care. Yes.
What do you folks think of Travis or Trevor Richards with Pittsburgh? I put in
He's a loser too. He's a loser.
He's got a 3.06 ERA and a 1.06 WHIP.
Okay.
This is after
it's April, dude. This is
starts.
Look it. Let me tell you one thing I found out about Kyle Hendricks. Okay. He's the other guy on our list about buy or trade or whatever. That the whole point is, what do you do with these guys?
Luis Castillo has 6 swinging strikes in 3 starts combined.
The problem. There's a difference between Castillo and Kyle Hendricks. I'm going to tell you right now what it is. When I analyze what to do with these guys, I think that Luis Castillo has a real problem. He's got a real problem. This is not just bad luck or anything like that. His velocity is down, but this is not the only problem that he has. Nobody's swinging at his pitches. I think that he's tipping his pitches, and I hope that he's tipping his pitches because maybe somebody can put him on the straight and narrow. But right now, I have to assume that he's hurt.
His changeup isn't good. His changeup just is not dominant.
None of his pitches are good. He stopped. His fastball is the worst pitch of all. His fastball.
He was a 3rd-round pickup in most of the snake drafts.
And his stats say that he's great, but with Kyle Hendricks, he is a horrible. First of all, listen to these stats that I found, okay? With Kyle Hendricks. April's Kyle Hendricks' worst month, so we got that going on, right? But in seven starts this season, right? In the first inning, he has given up so many. In 7 first innings, he has a 19.29 ERA and a 2.85 ERA. Oh no, and a 2.85 WHIP. 7 of the 11 home runs, because he's got a home run problem, 7 of 11 of them came in the very first inning. April is his worst month, so I'm hoping that it's the worst month in his entire career, though. It's not just like
I get it.
So, and the thing is that over his career too, in the first inning he's got a 4.77 ERA, and in the rest of the innings it's a 2.91 ERA. Okay, I'm going to give Kyle Hendricks the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to keep rolling him out there.
This is a good game against the Dodgers. But let me tell you about the Dodgers. The Dodgers were shut down by that wonderful lights-out starter, Jose Quintana. How bad are the Los Angeles Dodgers that they got shut down?
They're having a slump.
By Jose Quintana.
They don't have Bellinger. They don't have Pollock. They don't have a lot of shit. Their pitching
that's just playing terrible.
Yeah, they're not good. But do you guys think that this is going to last? Do you think that?
I think they won the championship and they don't give a rat's ass.
Bullshit! That is never going to happen.
No.
They don't
Once
care.
that lineup gets healthy and that starting pitching gets a little bit more organized, the Dodgers will still be the class of the NL. I don't see that changing.
I remember when the Cardinals were 8 games out on September 1st and won the World Series.
I love it. That's so much fun, dude. That's really fun.
I remember that.
There's something that I brought up on my Saturday baseball show about an article that I read at The Athletic. I think it was Michael Salfino that wrote it, but I'm not positive. It talks about the strikeout rate. So just like run differential, when you look at the run differential right now in baseball, you will see it's all over the place. It's like the guys with the only positive run differential in the National League East is in last place. But it evens out over the season. Yes, it is, Mitchell. You listen to Lenny's podcast, okay? But he was talking about strikeout percentage, and he was saying that if you can strike out less than you're striking out other teams, that's what really should be looked at, because strikeout is a rate that stabilizes really quickly. After like 20 games, the strikeout percentage, it stabilizes. The fact that the Dodgers are doing horrible right now, I don't believe it, because the same reason I don't really believe that the Mets are this bad is because it's the strikeout thing. I think it makes sense. Do you guys believe that it makes sense that if you kind of like with run differential, but you can't really you can't project with the run differential because it's something that doesn't really come true until when it's all said and done. Malpal, what do you think?
Well, I looked at this, I think it was last year, and when the season was down, I was looking at teams that are always at the top are the teams that strike out the least and walk the most.
Thank you. You're right.
It's not like consecutive, but they're all, hardly any are in the bottom 10 teams. And the Dodgers are on-base machines when they're clicking.
Douglas, what do you think of the Dodgers? Are they going to stay this bad?
I mean, the Dodgers are still the best team in the National League, I think. I mean, the pitching is what
the best
them up, and they have all types of hitting on their team. It's got to get things to work out. Of course, they're going to have bad moments. They faced the juggernaut Chicago Cubs for 3 games. I kind of put them on the bad side. No, it's just a little Chicago Cubs, hubris on my part. But everyone's going to have some wins. Everyone's going to have some losses. The saying is, everyone wins 54, everyone loses 54. What you do in the middle is what matters. And they're just running through a tough spell.
Okay,
can I just say something real quick about Kyle Hendricks that jumped out at me? This guy his strikeout rate is so low, right? So he's a classic example of what I look at in pitching. Is his ground ball rate this year is below 40%, and he's lived up in the high 50s his whole career. So when you don't strike out anyone and your ground ball rate takes a dive, and your fly ball and line drive rate goes screaming up, that's trouble. Yeah. And those numbers are terrible for him. So he needs to figure that out. I don't pretend to know the problem, but the trajectory he's in, it's not fixable. So
I absolutely love the formula that you gave us. Malpal turned us on to, if you add up a pitcher's ground ball percentage and his strikeout percentage, and if it comes to 70, then he has hope. But he's right. The ground balls have to be there if you're not striking anybody out. If you're not striking anybody out and you don't have a good ground ball rate, then you're really in trouble, right, Malpal? Then you're really...
That's my position.
Okay.
Yes.
Before we move on, I like to say that I'm reasonably certain that the Jared Kalenic thing is a prank.
Oh, well, we already figured that out a long time ago, Douglas.
Well, you just have to look at it and say that I'm just saying, looking through the stuff, that PR Mariners is a fake account.
Obviously.
Mariners PR is a real account. Sports Not reported it. John Heyman retweeted it. Everyone heard it.
John Heyman. Oh, good. So we're not the only ones.
Yeah, we're not the only ones. But don't pick up Kalenic. There's a chance it'll be up this week, but
let's go right into that then. Let's go right into that. First of all, I don't believe Kalenic is going to come up this week. I don't believe it.
He's already been called up, Andy.
That's what I was saying. I just said no, he hasn't. He has not been called up.
That was a prank. It was a prank. I'm telling you, it was a prank.
Usually don't bring up a guy on an off day, so then they're not playing today.
There was
that
a story
makes sense.
somewhere saying about, like, someone was speculating there that when Seattle returns to Washington this weekend, they might call him up, but that's just speculation.
The fact that John Heyman went for it is like, I mean, what a great, whoever did the prank is like super stoked right now.
It was well set up because they pranked Sportsnaut, which is a kind of weird little site, but was enough that Heyman liked it, and they reversed the name because there is a Mariners PR website, a Mariners PR Twitter, but it's Mariners. It's at Mariners PR, not at PR Mariners.
Okay, did you look at John Heyman's tweet? Were you able to see?
I saw a copy of it that somebody else had, but
okay, and he was referencing Sportsnaut is where he got the information.
I imagine so. I don't know.
Yes, because that's where I got the information. Because that's exactly where I got the information.
And so it's a matter of but whatever that was, it's been pulled because not the people saw it. But Heyman, there is at least one person on Twitter who had a shot of him retweeting it.
Okay, so yes, you can always find everything on the internet. It will never go away. Okay, so all right, let's talk about these youngsters, these popular youngsters. Everybody loves them. They always call in every time we have a show on Sirius. They call in. They want to know if they should pick up Wander Franco, Mackenzie Gore, and your boy Kalenic. I'm pretty much out of this conversation because everybody knows how I feel about it.
Well, I, for the most part, feel the same way that most of the time you can't really – there's a lot of hype on these rookies and they don't pan out. But if you're in a situation like you are in or that I'm in where I need to replace Luis Roberts' stuff, like this is one of the few pools I can look to where it might come from.
It will definitely be an up for the pool. But guess what? If they're not already in the player pool or you have to bid on them, there is something to be said about getting these guys or buying them a week early when you figure out where they're safe. If they're playing good in the minors and you have a feeling they're going to come up, it might be a good idea to spend a few dollars on them early and keep them on your bench for a minute rather than everybody's going to spend all their money on these guys and the chances of you getting them are really slim to none unless you're willing to spend a good chunk of your fab money. But what are they going to do for you? Let's do all three of them at the same time. Mitchell, I'm going to start with you if you want, or you don't have to. I'm just.
That's fine.
Let's start with Joe. Maybe he knows.
Okay, Joe, I'll start with you, Joe. Do you want to start? Or yes, you're the dynasty guy and you're the specialist. So.
Which prospect?
We're going to do all three of them. Tell me what you think about each one of them, and would you consider picking these guys up now, this next coming fab, or would you? Yes, you're the specialist on these guys.
I would, if I'm going to pick out of the three to rank them, I would go for Gore immediately.
Let's talk about let's put some guidelines out. It's a 12x12 redraft league, and that's what most people play in, and so that's what we're dealing with here. Mackenzie Gore is your choice to pick up and put on your roster right now in a redraft league.
Yep, strikeouts. That's with the strikeout rate it is, and San Diego can't keep anybody healthy in the rotation. Like I like Ryan Weathers on the team. I think Ryan Weathers is a good 4-pick mix, but he's already hurt. Lamet, who knows if he's going to hurt his bicep next week. Gore's got good stuff. He's had trouble walking people, but that seems to be the common theme of minor leaguers coming up with what he has. But I would take the potential and the lightning in the bottle coming in and going 5 innings, 9 strikeouts to start. I mean, that seems to be the going rate now for the young starters coming up.
Yeah, okay. So let's ask Malpal. He's a big Padres guy, and he's also a big fan of the White Sox. I do think. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Is that true,
yes.
Malpal?
Right. I think it's on Gore. I don't know the answer. I think he probably is up in the summer, but I don't know what he's done. I haven't checked in to see what he did in his first start. He's all about command, and it's going to be about opportunity. There probably will be opportunity as the summer goes because of injury and rest and that. I mean, I can't argue with that. I'd probably take Kalenic first, just because I think he will be up, and I think when he's up, he will play every day and probably bat second in the lineup and get a lot of at-bats. When he's up, he's not going back down.
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of my favorite out of that group. But if you need pitching and you want to get a big a guy who could just come in and strike out 9-10 guys, Gore is fine. Yeah.
Well, we only have one pitcher.
Gore did pitch one start already. 5 innings, 3 Ks, 3 walks.
Gore did?
Mackenzie Gore did.
Yeah.
Why do I have on here that he pitched 4 innings?
He pitched
4 innings, 5 hits, 3 Ks, 3 walks.
And it's but it's one start. Okay, let's give him a break. I'm actually trying to find his game log from last year to see how deep he goes into games. But it's very. I hear what Malpal is saying totally. I hear what you're saying about Mackenzie Gore. I'd love to see his game log, because when you say he could come up, strike out 9, and pitch 6 innings, to me, I question that, because these youngsters, they don't pitch that many innings in the minor leagues at all. Because I don't know.
I think I said 5 innings. I get the point. I agree with you.
Okay, hold on a second.
Guys.
I found it. He was averaging about 5 innings a start in 2019.
Okay, great. So what about, I agree with you on Kalenic too, that he will look at the team he's on. They're not worried about winning the World Series, so they really will play him every day. And he seems to be able to steal bases and hit home runs. What about Wander Franco? Mitchell, who's your favorite of those 3? And tell me what you think.
It's a toss-up between Franco and Kalenic.
Why is it a toss-up?
Well, Franco's tearing it up at Durham. And by the way, some kid named Dujon or the second
Vidal Brujan.
He's going to be terrific. He might be better than Franco. And nobody talks about him.
Nobody does talk about him. I remember.
I talk about him a lot, and of all these guys, I take Brujan on a flyer for this year. If it's a redraft year, I take him right behind Kalenic, because he's got a spot in the Tampa lineup waiting for him in center field, and he's a pretty polished player, and he's fast, so he could really help you out in one category. Anyways, go ahead.
No, that's great.
My daughter lives in Chapel Hill area. And I'm going down there in June. I can't wait to see the Durham Bulls. That team is loaded.
Let me tell you what Vidal.
Absolutely
let me tell you, this Vidal Brujan. I remember him from last year talking about him.
Yeah,
anyways,
he hit the top 100 last year.
Let me tell you what he's doing right now at AAA in 22 at bats, 4 home runs, 8 runs, 9 RBIs, a stolen base, and that's what I'm saying. He's unbelievably good.
And that home run thing is sort of a new thing, because he's never had a year with more than 5 home runs. But that was the thing. He's only 22, and they were always saying like he's a
speed guy, dude.
He's a Dominican, I believe. He
stole
has a kind of body.
Bases. In 2019, he stole 50 bases. Put it that way, 50.
Really?
Yep.
Yes, in 2019.
So, Malpal tells me something I didn't know. I thought he was a second baseman.
He is a middle infielder, but they're trying him in the outfield, I think.
He's playing in center field.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Kiermaier, you don't have to do much to do more than Kiermaier. I know Lenny likes
Kiermaier. Kiermaier's a defensive guy.
Lenny likes Kiermaier, but Kiermaier is more fragile than an 85-year-old white woman.
Okay, let's get back on topic, though. You love Wander Franco.
I do like Franco. I think Franco will leapfrog Willie Adames, who is not a bad ball player, by the way. I would take Willie Adames on most of my teams. I do not dislike Willie Adames. I just think Franco is better.
Okay, so he could unseat Adames. He's a defensive shortstop is what he is. So that is troublesome for a young prospect, because if he doesn't, shortstop is one of those positions you don't just put a rookie.
No, you have a point there, Andy.
He is hitting well in the minor leagues right now. He's got 23 at bats. He has 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, and he's batting .304. And we're used to seeing him bat really good, average at least.
He will be an outstanding.
I don't see all the stats there though for fantasy purposes. I do not see the home runs there. I do not see the.
Are you saying that Thomas is better on defense than Franco?
Yes, dude. Yes.
You may be right. Okay.
Yes, that's the problem with trying to put Wander Franco on your roster right now. What the Mackenzie Gore thing too. For me, it depends on if they have a spot to play. I don't think they're going to call up any prospect unless they have a spot to play every day for the most part. But Douglas, which of those 3 do you like? And whatever you've been wanting to say that now.
Of the three, I like Kalanick the best because I would imagine that he would play the most throughout the year, and talents are pretty simple. The one thing I did want to say is, in every league where it makes sense to pick up a prospect that I'm in which is like 3, Kalanick and Franco are 100% owned and have been 100% owned most of the year. So it's not really a lot of help to me to say, go get the guy. Now, admittedly, I own him in 1. It's like those guys have been so far ahead of the curve. I'm kind of more interested in the second tier of players that you could actually go get, like Brandon Marsh.
He's hurt, dude. Brandon Marsh is hurt.
He's not hurt. He was hurt before the spring training. He was okay by the end of spring training.
Brandon Marsh?
Is he playing? Do any of you get the MLB streaming? Joe, do you get it?
I do.
Do you like it?
He's playing.
I wouldn't live without it.
It's not real expensive, is it, Joe?
Is he ready to come up? I don't think he is.
He's his assignment when they went to assign players is he assigned them. He was assigned to extended spring training.
He's about to start up in AAA. They're already prepping him for a AAA starting. I just read the article today. They're prepping him to get him.
That was a decision that was made today.
Yeah, I had to double check him today because I have him in my league.
Can I ask Joe a question?
Sure,
on
please.
Franco. So, what do you think a guy like Franco? He's never really had like a crazy dominating year in the minors. He's got less than 800 at bats. So, what would you expect from someone like that without a lot of minor league experience and has never really dominated at a level? What kind of impact do you see him?
He's a pure hitter. That's what
I think you could get the impact where you can get a Rosarena, where you get lightning out of the bottle and he strikes and you get him for 2 or 3 months, or he comes out and he's Joe Adell and he strikes out a ton and they send him right back down. I think that's his. I don't think he has a safe floor per se.
Okay.
I think he can come up 2 weeks. He can strike out 40% of the time. They send him right back down, or you got another Rosarena they're sitting on for the rest of the season. I think he's the biggest potential to be the biggest star of the 3, but I think he's the biggest bust of the 3.
But why do you think he could be the biggest star, though?
I think his. They've been talking about Wander Franco for what, 3-4 years, maybe like that. Gore, you knew about Gore. I mean, Kalanick. I think Kalanick's safe. I think Kalanick can come up, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed with Kalanick. I just think Wander Franco's the type that could, if he gets called up and he plays well, he could be a difference maker on your roster, pure and simple.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you base your thoughts on?
I mean, I haven't seen too much of Wander Franco. I was hoping to see him a little bit last year, and that kind of wiped out. When I seen him in 2019, he was a great contact hitter. He has the 5 tools if he puts it together, but he's still young. What is he, 20, 21, 22? No. I have to check his age. I'm not sure, but
dude, he's young. He has very little experience.
He's got the profile there, but you don't know until. I mean, he doesn't have hardly any at bats this 2020. I think 2019. I got to go back.
Hold on a second, though. So this is a question that comes up a lot. What Malpal just and. It comes up a lot because we didn't have the minor leagues last year, so we don't have their stats from last year, what they were doing. But unless he was doing something crazy good, his stats do not tell me that he is this generational player with the highest ceiling of. Because Kalanick, let me tell you, his stats say what he's going to do. Like his stats show, he runs, he steals bases, he hits for power, he drives in runs, why I would think that automatically I would just look at the 2 stats and it wouldn't even be a question as to who is the better player between Kalanick and Franco. But you're not alone. Believe me, I'm not trying to be you're not alone.
But you would never see Tampa even consider, even in a race, trading Wander Franco. Kalanick went for what? Was he part of the he was part of the package for the reliever, correct?
He came from the Mets. Yeah.
Correct. So you would never see if Tampa Bay needed a piece to finish it, Tampa would never let Wander Franco go. There'd be no situation. But Kalanick, they were willing to trade for a reliever. Granted, it didn't work out in the end, and it could have. But Kalanick was expendable to that point. Wander Franco.
Big difference is Tampa is one thing, and the Mets are another.
Well, Tampa gets 5 people in their stadium, so I mean it's not really too big of a deal.
Right. But Tampa actually develops players and knows what they're doing with them. The Mets
Tampa
are
is
the
the
disaster.
smartest team in Major League
Absolutely.
Baseball. They have a
Absolutely,
$60 million payroll and took the Dodgers right to the mat. They're the best run team in baseball. Full stop. And I don't agree. What they do looks stupid, but they win. And they win without spending money.
No, they can't spend money because they can't get anybody to go to that stadium.
But they need to move the team back to Montreal or somewhere.
If they built that stadium in Tampa and not in St. Petersburg, people would come watch the games.
They wanted to build it in Ybor City, which is Cuba town, the best Cuban cigars and flamenco dancers anywhere in America. And they could have put that thing in Ybor City, and you could have gone to a game and then gone out to the great Columbia restaurant and watched flamenco dancers and smoked Cuban cigars.
And then
would have been the best baseball venue in America.
And then you would have a $100 million payroll at that point. So imagine if they had $40 million more to spend on that roster.
Thank you.
But I guess the point is, Tampa, when Tampa brings up young guys, they're usually pretty good. They are.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. That's why I think Franco's just boom or bust, but if he hits, I think his potential is insane.
They're the best run team in Major League Baseball by far.
I'm a Red Sox fan.
They can make silk out of a sow's ear. That's how good that management.
I am no longer a Red Sox fan. I'd like to make this announcement, even though I've said it in the chat room a couple times.
$200 million.
You can't be a Yankees fan. That's just.
I am. That's true. I'm a Yankees fan. I started being one.
The Red Sox have a $200 million payroll. How much better are they than Tampa?
Not that much, and they're pretty much a joke. And I do not like the Red Sox. I do not like the direction that they're going, and
they're going to come out ahead on the Mookie Betts deal. You wait till the second baseman comes up.
What are you talking about?
No,
they're probably already
ahead. Listen to me.
I'll listen.
You heard me say this on May the 10th, 2021.
Okay.
Before the cock crows 3 times, they're going to come out ahead on this deal because Jeter Downs is going to be a terrific second baseman, and you can't make a living this year between Mookie Betts and Verdugo. Listen to me. I'm telling you.
You also did trade David Price away, which could have been a starter in that rotation that's bad right now. It's bad. I'm a diehard Red Sox fan. I do not like the direction, but that Mookie Betts trade was probably not. They should have just paid him 2 years before. They put themselves in that position by not
they
paying
should have kept Mookie Betts. I agree with you, Joe. But what I'm saying is
they got
more in that deal than what the public perception is.
Mookie Betts would be gone from the Red Sox right now, and they had nothing if they kept him. They got something.
They should have tried to re-sign him before they pushed him.
He wasn't going to resign.
I agree with that. But they didn't.
He had made it pretty public. He wasn't planning on resigning.
And keep in mind how smart they were. Gratterall was in that trade, and they backed out at the last minute and insisted on Jeter Downs. And instead of Gratterall came from the Twins, but it was a 3-way trade, was it not?
He was involved in it.
Maeda went to the Twins.
Yeah.
Gratterall came from the Twins.
Over to the Dodgers.
Yeah. You don't trade a generational talent and get better. I just don't.
Okay, so you're out of all of these 3 that we talked about, the most popular prospects. Let's rank them in order of who's coming up and making the most impact first. One that you should feel quite comfortable about picking up in the near future, not right this minute, but as soon as we figure out how many days it has passed before they can qualify for a full season, because that's when
the Super 2 should be around like the 8th day of next month.
Yes, correct.
They're saying that because when Nico Horner was sent down, they said he'll be back in 63 days. And so I base it on that number that's what they were predicting.
I think Kalinick has the most immediate impact.
Okay, Mitchell is ranking Kalinick number 1. Let's just pick number 1, the one that you should watch first. I think we all agree it's Kalinick, except
Kalinick. No, I agree. Kalenic will get called up first.
He'll have the most impact. He'll have more impact than Gore.
I think. Yeah. I think if the season gets going and Gore comes up, I like Gore helping that, especially in San Diego. They'll find a spot in the rotation because they can't keep anybody healthy.
First of all, they're not going to find a spot in the rotation for a prospect when they have guys like Blake Snell, Yu Darvish, and all of these. Lamet is getting healthy. They're trying to keep him healthy.
Yeah, I don't have faith in Lamet staying healthy.
I understand that. And yes, I understand that there's a good chance that they might need Mackenzie Gore. But until they do, in my opinion, and I've been very strong on this, he is not experienced enough to be in the major leagues. Okay, that's my opinion for sure. But I'm probably not. I'm definitely capable of being.
No, that's fair.
Malpel agrees with you that he will come up and he pays most attention to the Padres. He probably knows it better.
I would take Kalenic, Franco, and Gore.
Okay.
I agree with Malpel in that order.
What's your order, Joe?
I would do Kalenic, Gore, Franco.
Okay. That was fun. I liked this segment.
Can I ask Joe about two or three other prospects?
No. I say no. No. Just kidding. Of course you can. I will never.
There are people that he follows them really closely, and there are people that can't get any kind of good read on.
I have no choice in my dynasty league to follow. I have no choice because we have 5 minor league spots, and they get sniped left and right, and we can't pick up a prospect till they're drafted, and then CBS picks them up. So here's
a guy that none of us have ever seen play baseball outside of college, but. When the Baltimore Orioles were assigning their players, they assigned Heston Kierkegaard to their alternate site, not to the minors. Do you have any opinion on Heston Kierkegaard? I hope I'm pronouncing his name right.
No.
He was the number 2 overall pick last year out of Arkansas. He's not
enough on that.
But but it doesn't stand the reason that if they're assigning the alternate site, that means he's close, and we're not paying any attention to this guy.
Hey, I love the alternate site because that's how I manipulated my minor league team this year. But
is there an alternate site still? Does every team have an alternate site still?
They technically still have an alternate site.
Yeah, it's going to be renamed Extended Spring Training, but that's the same site.
Yes, same thing.
What's wrong with doing what we used to do? Why do we need that site?
It is what they used to do. It is what they used to do. But there's got to be because there's still a COVID issue. There has to be about 10 players just readily available for short call-ups.
Yeah, taxi squad, correct?
A taxi squad type team. So it still exists, and it's going to exist this year.
What level is that? Do you stop off there on the way between the two?
It's like AAA plus. It's like it's MLB minus is really what it is.
It could be a place where Kalenic could be sitting and waiting, essentially, an alternate site.
That's the worst place that he could possibly be besides the hospital. Okay, the hospital is the only place worse than that place.
Well, hey, why is that place bad? It means that there's
no games. There's absolutely this guy.
They play each other. They play like inter-squad games.
They might as well play the fucking Little League up the street, okay? Excuse my language.
In most cases, they're seeing better talent than they are seeing in the minors. Because they're
playing each other. They're friendly. It's friendly fire.
It is a little bit friendly, but it's not like minor league baseball is that competitive.
I think I read. I may be wrong on this, but I thought I read somewhere where they're using this. What do they call it? The alternative sites.
Yeah, the alternate.
They're going to eventually use them as kind of a staging area. So when they call someone up, they got to go through this.
A staging area.
There's 7 to 10 day waiting period for the COVID protocol.
Holy shit!
They're in like Albuquerque, and they don't have control over them. They got to pass through the protocol and.
They're doing the quarantine there. Probably they got everybody has to go through quarantine.
But they go through the major league review, I guess is what.
Look, all this is making prospects extremely interesting for me to look at so far this year.
Yeah, but the problem is when you look at something like.
Let's let him talk about the ones that we have on the rundown for tonight. He's got there's 5 players on here. Logan Gilbert is a Mariner. Logan Gilbert's a Mariner, and there's not much more for me to say about that except for the fact that because he's a Mariner, he has a good chance of getting called up and being utilized. What do you think, Joe?
They've talked about bringing him up May, June by holding his innings back so then he could pitch the rest of the season with no innings limit. Right. And they're very, very high on Logan Gilbert.
He's at the right level. He's at AAA. And did he pitch already this year so far?
I don't know if he's pitched yet. I haven't checked.
I think he did.
He did. I think he's done well.
Yeah. I have to, the MLB, even MLB is not very. The only place to get these rookie stats right now is at MLB.com.
That's where I'm having to get mine from.
MILB is the only one. RotoWire does not, even though they have.
If you go to the MLB app and you go to prospect listing, the top guys, they're showing the stats for them.
Okay, well, it's just a pity. Why aren't these websites getting the updates for the minor leagues? Why do I have to go all the way over here?
They're on Fangraphs. They're 1 day delayed, but they're on Fangraphs. They have yesterday.
Yeah. He had 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 5 Ks, no walks.
Great, that sounds great. I'm excited. When do you think he'll get? Do you think he'll get called? I mean,
I think they're going to pull him up in May, June. I think because he can't handle 200 innings, but they didn't have him hardly pitch at the alternate site. He didn't pitch late last year. They're going to start ramping him up in AAA, and then they're going to bring him up.
We have to just assume that these teams are not bringing up their prospects until. Does anybody know when the date is where it's safe to bring these guys up from
Super Tuesday, right? No,
no, it's not Super Tuesday.
No, it's oh gosh,
it's 162 games. They're not supposed to be up here for 100 and I want to say 120 games or something. 3 weeks. It's not even that many games. They only have to stay down in the minors typically for about a month.
Yeah. They talked about June for him, moving him up. They don't want him to bring him up and then sit him down at the end of the year, like kind of like a Strasburg limit. Like, oh, we're done with him at this point.
It's super exciting when you see one of these guys doing really good at the minor leagues. Like Kalenic is. I mean, mind you, it's only been like 8 at bats. Okay, so don't get all crazy. But he is looking. He's looking good.
Andrew, just so you know, Fangraphs has stats, minor league stats.
They do.
Yeah.
Yes, I see this. Okay, so I'm looking at Wander Franco here right now. And I do see them at Fangraphs, and that makes me very pleased. So it's just RotoWire. You're the only one, RotoWire. You need to get up your game. Step it up. What else do we have? Okay, so we had him. We had the guy that you were just talking about. What's his name? Logan Gilbert.
Jackson Kohar of the Royals.
Kohar, yeah.
I've had him for about a year and a half, but I think he's probably the best Royals pitcher they have.
Okay, that's not really saying a great amount.
Well, they have a lot of prospects.
If you look up his stuff and look at some of the videos from last year, look up his changeup, and you'll see why they're very excited about him.
Do you think that he will just go right into the rotation when he gets the call up? Is that what we're thinking? You never know, right?
If you've got an 80 grade changeup and you've got a fastball that's 97, you could play.
80 changeup.
Yeah, he throws 97 and he has an 80 grade changeup.
I want to know what his command is like. I want to know what's an 80 grade changeup. What does that mean?
Well,
so
the highest grades,
scale
like
20 to 80. 20 to 80 on the scale of a prospect, 80 being the best, 20 being the worst. They rate his changeup as the best in the minor leagues.
An 80 rating by the scout should catch your attention.
I understand, but how the fuck are you? I just don't understand.
He's got good from what I've seen and what I've been hearing. His command is very, very good. They couldn't pull him up because they've already got enough rookies in the rotation, but he's close.
Okay, so they do already have a full rotation. I know that their pitching is not great.
And they're in contention right now. So
look, the poor Kansas City Royals are in hell at the moment. They're in a living hell. What they're doing, they went 28 innings without getting a run just the other day. 28 innings. It was horrible. What happened? What do you guys think is up with this? You had Oakland winning all these games. Now they suck.
The Royals went up against the best pitching staff, the best, the 3 pretty good pitchers right now. With the White Sox.
Who are they up against? The White Sox.
They went up against Rodon and Lynn, and who pitched on Friday?
Martinez, and he sucks. He's got 3 wins in a row, and he is the most horrible pitcher in town. This guy, he's getting wins. I don't know how.
Carr's already got a couple starts already. He's got 10 innings pitched and 14 Ks already.
Love it. Okay, so that's great. And you know what? If you're pitching like that, they will make room for you. But I want to know his experience in the minors. Has he made it to AAA?
He's in AAA this year, and then 2019 he's in Double.
Love it. Okay, now let's move on to Josiah Gray for the Dodgers. Josiah Gray, I think probably a lot of people know him, but tell me his level.
I think he's triple from the last time. I don't know if he's started yet because I think they may be holding him back the same way they're thinking Logan Gilbert. I got to check on that. It's the only one I did not find.
Josiah Gray. I mean, his name is very familiar. What do you think of him, Douglas? Do you know Josiah Gray? Or Malpal or anybody, Mitchell? Whoever knows, just start.
Oh, he did.
Well,
I don't know. I'm not familiar with this player.
He got to start 5 innings pitched, 10 Ks.
At AAA.
Yeah, AAA. Yeah, I had to look it up because this literally just updated.
Isn't he the Dodgers' top-rated pitcher?
Yeah, he's the guy that I think if Price wasn't there, I believe he probably would have got the call already. Instead of because they're going to hold back and see if they can get Gonsolin back and Price back.
Man, their rotation. If you would have asked me which rotation is going to need to bring minor leaguers up to fill their rotation this early in the season, it would not have been the Dodgers. No fucking way.
Trust me, I had May, and I drafted him 3rd round in Dynasty, and I'm very sad he left because he was looking very good this year.
So they do have depth. Adley Rutschman. Now he's a catcher for the Orioles. Let me look. Tell me what you know about him. Adley Rutschman.
So I got him I didn't get an opportunity to draft him. Someone sniped him before me. But since the catcher position is pretty much a wasteland, if he gets called up at any time, as long as you can play great defense, which he does, and his bat plays well, you'll stay. Like Carson Kelly should be starting most games, but Carson Kelly isn't a amazing defender. So obviously he's still splitting time.
We just have given up on Chance Cisco. This is not going to work out, this relationship, or what?
I believe so. Rutschman gets called up. It's his job.
Is he at AAA? Rutschman?
He's at triple as well. I think he was at triple. I think he was at triple in 2020 as well, or late double. But he almost got the call. I think he would have got the call last year if we had a full season.
Yeah. So if he's at AAA, it's just a matter of time.
I mean, he's got the Buster Posey.
He is.
Yeah.
Totally like Buster Posey.
He's got to be up soon.
Yeah, if catcher position, there's only 7, 8 that you really, maybe not even 7, 8 that are really dependable at this point.
Well, they all share playing time now, right? Most of them share playing time, even the good ones. And
I got Will Smith, and I'm disappointed. Drafted him high, and then they're like, "Oh, he'll catch 80 games this year." Well, that's
what
not
lesson
good.
did you learn, though? Don't be disappointed. Just what are you going to do different? You're not going to be drafting the Will Smith.
I have Will Smith and Carson Kelly now, so
He's weak on defense, Joe.
You could get like Yan Gomes for practically free, dude. And I mean, I'm sorry.
Yan Gomes is doing well.
He is. I have to say, I have no catchers in labor. I don't have any catchers on my team. I picked up players yesterday. I put 2 catchers.
Fill every position.
Dude, I put my catchers on the DL. I went to pick up players, and like they do these contingent bids. So if your first pick doesn't wind up for you, then they automatically put in this other choice. And I just add all kinds of players on there. But obviously I didn't spend enough on my catchers. I didn't get any catchers. I got all kinds of other shit. I got Harrison Bader. Do you guys like, he's hitting right now, Harrison Bader. And Hunter Renfroe I picked up, okay, because I'm just playing. This is what we should be telling Matt Hooper. Hunter Renfroe, Harrison Bader, Austin Slater, like those kind of guys that are just.
Nobody likes Talkman.
I like Talkman.
Are you a fan?
I am.
Did you just go to San Francisco?
Yes.
Yeah, no, at that park, no. Yankee Stadium.
You have a point there, Joe. Yankee Stadium, the right field porch.
Yeah.
Different than the
But the difference is he's going to play in San Francisco.
Yeah, he's batted leadoff every game since the trade cut over. And there is a thing about that where they close the gate, and it's good for left-handed hitters, and that's why I'm kind of pro Talkman, pro Belt, pro Crawford, all the Giants lefty hitters.
I agree. Good point, Doug.
I forgot what we were talking about because I do.
You're talking about Renfro. You picked up Renfro.
Yes. Douglas, who'd you pick up this week?
I picked up Brandon Crawford, David Price, and this will really excite you, Cal Garlick.
You just like his last name, kind of like that other guy. You just like to say his last name.
No, yeah, he's actually like he leads off for the Twins when they face a lefty, and they seem to really like him. And his pedigree isn't that horrible. But he's hitting 300 this year.
None of you picked up Josh Naylor?
Naylor's owned in that league.
Josh Naylor's one of Lenny's favorites.
I like Naylor coming over, but
Lenny loves Josh Naylor.
I was trying to do that thing where I was trying to figure out what to do about Luis Robert, and I thought the way you do it is there's nobody on the waiver wire right now that's good enough to cover his spot. So if you can pick up somebody for 3 or 4 weeks that could be just good enough to survive, and then
Harrison Bader, dude.
You can pick up Jake Marisnick, Harrison Bader. There's a lot of guys out there that are doing that sort. I would have picked up Marisnick if he didn't get hurt on Sunday. That would have been my number one choice.
I'm trying to sit on Robert because I think he's a real talent.
Yeah, but even if it's like, I mean, it's one thing in dynasty leagues, but in a redraft league, you're looking at.
I'm in a dynasty league.
Best case scenario, you're getting him back about August 15th. Best case scenario, most likely it's September.
I almost cut him in my dynasty league because I have 7 injuries and they're all big name players, and I'm wasting. Like I have one spot with Chris Sale because I've had him for a couple of years. I got him cheap because of his arm injury, and I have Robert in my other one. I also have Luzardo. I lost May. It's been an interesting year so far.
Okay, let's talk about one more player before we go.
What's your favorite one?
Brandon Marsh. How'd you know?
Yeah.
How'd you know it's my favorite player?
No,
is
Marsh. I like a lot. I like Marsh a lot.
Last year we went to Arizona Fall League in November, and Joe Adell and Brandon Marsh were there, and I could not figure out what in the world everybody loved about Joe Adell. I was like, this guy's not good.
I agree with you, Andy, but I can't I'm in leagues where you can't draft MILB players.
Yeah,
right now.
Well, okay, so let's finish with.
By the time he gets called up, you have to spend a ton of money for him. Everybody's going to want him.
That's true. That's why we're trying to get ahead of the game here. We're trying to talk, the potential call-ups for these guys. What's the situation around them? Brandon Marsh, obviously they just got rid of Pujols, so there's a spot in the outfield, and he did look so much more ready to come to the majors than his buddy Joe Adell, who I think is still the case. That this was before last year that we saw Brandon Marsh stealing bases. Like every time he would steal bases. You could just tell he was comfortable and like, okay, anyways, I like the idea of Brandon Marsh, but is he ready to come up? Because last time I checked, he was at AA. Oh, you said that he's going to go to AAA now.
They're prepping him for AAA to get him to see if he gets through the injury. And I'm pretty sure if he gets hot early, he'll definitely be in the outfield. And they'll probably move.
Yeah, he's the guy who's going to get the next shot after Taylor Ward.
Can I throw a curveball at you?
Okay.
Sure.
I can't believe I'm saying this. God strike me dead for blasphemy. Lewis Brinson seems to be getting it together.
Just throw that. Keep that in the waiver wire.
I'm a Lewis Brinson fan. Last year I made a big deal before the season about how I thought Lewis Brinson was going to be the best player on the Miami Marlins.
Lewis, he seems to be getting it together. I'm serious.
I'm glad that he's getting it together.
I am too. I like the kid.
But for Brandon Marsh, I do think the situation in LA now has made an opportunity where he will get called up as soon as possible. He's probably not going to have to spend much time proving himself at AAA. I really do believe that he will get called up before any of these guys, because of the fact that the LA Angels must be confident. Either that or they just got into a huge knockdown brawl with Pujols and just said, you're fired. Because
I think Marsh had something to do with that thinking as well.
Yeah,
I do too. Yeah, I listen. They were right.
Hasn't played yet,
they were right what they did with Pujols, but they were wrong the way they did it.
No, the way they did
it was unconscionable. But they were right. First of all, they were wrong to sign anybody for 10 years, but I won't bore you with that.
I think he came with that contract, dude. Let
me tell you who's screwing the Angels. Rendon is.
What about Miggy's contract? These two guys have
Miggy's got like 5 more years to go.
4 more years.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Well,
No,
Pujols,
seriously.
you
think
know
But
what?
in reality, that's not much different than Pujols' contract because Pujols has played like 400 more games than Miggy, and so it'll even out by the time Miggy leaves.
Pujols.
They
the
have
problem.
Miggy, I believe, for 4 more years.
It's the
You
problem
could
that
be-
just they're signing these huge 10-year contracts when they're 30, 31, 32, not Trout at 27.
Yeah,
That's
this is-
the issue.
Or Tatis for 14 years when he's 22 or 23.
Well, they're going to get a heck of a discount for what they're going to pay him if he ends up being what he is.
That's right. So that's different. But when you give somebody 30 years old a 10-year, I'll tell you who's earned a contract.
Pujols did. He earned his
Max
contract.
Scherzer earned the contract.
Miguel Cabrera earned the contract.
Who?
Miguel
They
Cabrera
both
earned
have.
it with the Tigers.
Miguel Cabrera's is one of the most expensive and worst contracts because of the length of it. But
it
I
is.
will give him credit though, because both him and Pujols have done a decent job, as much as you could expect them to live out their contracts, right?
Before the cock crows 3 times, Max Scherzer's going to be in Yankee pinstripes.
Does Max Scherzer, has he already gone through a 10-year contract though? I don't think he
He's
has.
at
Max
the
Scherzer
end
has
of
like
the
jumped from team
contract.
to team to team. He's been
I
very
think
good.
I think it was
But no one's
7
kept him
years.
around.
Hey, Doug, wasn't it 7 years?
Who?
Max Scherzer.
Scherzer. 7 years.
Scherzer
7.
was.
In 2015.
Scherzer will be with the Yankees.
Oh, look at me. I
don't know. I don't think the Yankees are what they used to be. I don't think they're the buying team. I think we'll say that in 10
They
years,
don't
7 years,
buy. That's true. They
they'll
don't.
be with the Mets because Cohen will spend the money.
They'd never let him go across to a
He wouldn't be. He'd be
division
going from Washington to New York Mets.
Can
So
we go back to Brandon Marsh, Joe? What do you see? For what I've read, and I've actually watched some film on him. Not that I know what I'm looking at, but they're talking about he's a hitter, he's a great defender, but they don't know about if his power will deliver. What do you think about that?
They're saying he's tapping into his power, but his walk rate's insane. And I don't know where they're going to put him in the lineup, but if he hits anywhere, I mean, even after Trout, he's going to see good pitches. They're going to really have no choice. I mean, because Trout's been on the base, I think he's 420, 430 this year on base clip.
Yeah,
it's absurd. I have him, and it's a great to own him right now.
He strikes me as Darren Erstad, and just
Well, that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, if they get Darren Erstad and they go Rendon, Trout, and Darren Erstad in that lineup, that would be outstanding.
You're dating yourself, Malpal.
I mean, that lineup's good. You had Brandon Marsh, who's on base. That'd be great.
I remember Darren, but I remember Garrett Anderson.
I remember Darren Erstad punting at Michigan or at Nebraska.
I mean, I mean, the Angels haven't really done wrong recently as far as call-ups. So I mean,
Angels need some starting pitchers.
Well, they definitely need to start. I mean, Griffin Canning coming around the corner a little bit now, but I don't have too much faith.
The reason I asked that question is kind of going back to earlier is like everyone has these expectations that Marsh is going to come up and be like this big star. But are people going to be disappointed when after 500 at bats he has 11 home runs?
I don't think he's going to come up to. I don't think he's going to come up to be a star, but I think you can get a 280, 290 hitter with 20, 25 home runs over a full season.
No, no, the home runs. Maybe he'll grow into home runs, but you can't.
I'm talking about his first go around. Yeah,
25 steals and 12 home runs in his first season.
Yeah, will that be a disappointment to people?
What? 12, what was that? 12 home runs, 25 steals?
Yeah.
Oh, I would take. I would take that because steals are tough right now.
I'm just saying,
if he's
fantasy, when we talk up these guys in the fantasy community, and then they don't go 30 like Ronald Acuna, then people seem to go.
Put it this way: Wander Franco could be Ronald Acuna as far as his tools, or he could be Joe Adele and struggle and not get called up and strike out 50% of the time.
What are Rondo Franco's tools, though? He doesn't hit homers and he doesn't steal that many bases. What are his tools? his 80 or no, 80s for a pitcher. I forget. I'm just asking because I don't see it in his stats. And by the way, the stats that we're looking at do not include whatever these guys did last year. So there's a good chance that we're missing some of the growth that we don't see in the stats.
It's hard to read stats of an 18, 19-year-old, right? That's,
the profile that he had was a speed power combo guy that had contact. That's always been his MO. Now, I did steal 19 bases and 9 home runs the last time we actually seen him. So the profile's there. But he has that upside. But and he could be Joe Adell and strike out 50% of the time. Like he doesn't have a safe floor, but he has an incredible ceiling. That's the problem. Brandon Marsh probably has a safe floor, but I don't think he's going to be a superstar.
What you want to take an interesting thing. Go back next week. We thought, look at Kyle Lewis's power production in the minor leagues, and then look what he's done in a major league.
Oh yeah,
it's weird.
I've been following Kyle Lewis.
He was not a power hitter in the minor league.
No. When they get up to the MLB, they start to get the launch angle. They start to do a little bit more and kind of change a little bit. Look at Joey Votto. Joey Votto was line drive, and they're like, hey, you need to increase your launch angle. He started playing well until he got hurt.
Right.
So even him at 38's learning. But you're not going to hit 310, 320 anymore. They're going to be 260 hitters because they're going to strike out a ton more, which is the new game.
Right. So, it just goes to show that development is interesting in the minor leagues in that you kind of got to believe these scouts and what they're – you got to kind of believe some of that,
Yeah.
You got to kind of believe it. No, yes. So I got into an argument about Fernando Tatis when he was coming up with Ralph Lipschitz. He's a big prospect guy, and so I was actually sticking up for Derek Carty, though, who is a friend of ours, and he does the bat. He was saying that Fernando Tatis strikes out too much. Don't expect it to be like whatever. He was just tempering expectations, and then, of course, the whole Twitter mob just attacked him for that, and he turned out that Fernando Tatis, immediately showed that he was exactly what everybody that loves prospects thought he was going to be, So there are these exceptions. Acuna was the same way pretty much, right? He came up and did it.
Yep, Acuna came up and directly did it immediately, but he has strikeout concerns in the minor leagues as well.
A lot of young pitchers do so, or hitters, pitchers, whatever it is, they're not fully grown.
And then you have the opposite. You have Trevor Story, who stole bases in the minor league, comes up and he hits 30 home runs and almost 30 stolen bases.
Because you can grow into power. You can't grow into speed.
Well, Coors kind of helps your power a little bit, but Trevor Story did hit home runs at other places too, so it wasn't just Coors.
I think that everybody loves prospects because everybody wants to be the one that found this, up and coming star. You brought up that you have Dylan Cease, and you've had Dylan Cease on your taking up a spot on your. Now he's obviously not on the minor league roster anymore, but you're saying that you've had him since he was.
Yeah, I had him when he was on the Cubs.
And you never lost faith in the fact that he doesn't know where.
We could stash 5. We could stash 5 minor leaguers.
Okay.
I usually try to keep 3 that are could get called up that year or close, and I usually try to keep the last 2 for Dylan Cease. I had I was telling Doug I had Walker Buehler 3 years before he got called up because I seen the stuff. I'm like, it plays up. He throws 97. Let me throw him on there.
But you see, Walker Buehler came up and he was immediately successful. So when he ran out of the option to be on the minor league roster spot, once they pitch a certain number of innings, then you can't put him on there anymore. So now you have Dylan Cease on your active bench. Well, we know how that goes. But I would have lost faith in Dylan Cease by now. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, the deep bench kind of helps, or the deep 5 minor leaguers kind of helps. Walker didn't have a high. Walker wasn't a high prospect right away, and then he went to Oklahoma City in AAA, blew up.
He was great. He went
top 10. Like Nate Peterson, he went to the community college in my town, Central Florida Community College, and blew up there. And then went from a prospect they weren't sure of to a first-round pick. So
Is everybody going to a game today? Before we hang up, I want to know if you guys are planning on going to any type of game where you go into the park and however you guys do it, wherever you're at, minor league game or major league game.
I have,
go ahead.
Yeah, I have 2 tickets to the Cubs versus the Cardinals
Okay.
on July 11th in Wrigley.
How
It
fun!
cost me $600 and some.
Holy shit! Don't even try to park there, dude. It's going to cost you another $60.
No, I'll take the L. I'm staying down on the roof. I know Chicago. I'll take the L to Addison.
Okay.
Get drunk in Wrigleyville. But
Tim, you could start drinking at like 6 o'clock in the morning at Wrigley, and you do not have to walk far, right?
It's the most wonderful atmosphere anywhere in baseball.
It really is a fun time.
I had tickets last year with a company called Vivid Seats, and they wouldn't give me my money back.
I know who
And
they
I had
are.
$658, and I went to get 2 tickets from a Maryland me to go to the Cubs game, and it took all of my $658 plus another $9.71 to get 2 seats at the 200 level in Wrigley Field.
But hold on a minute. Don't you get a rain check? You have to get a rain check.
No, there was no rain checks last year because of COVID.
Yeah,
they wouldn't refund my money. I didn't get a rain check.
And some of them now, if you pay for opening day tickets and you paid say $600 for it, they were replacing it with say Cubs Rays, and you would get less of the game that you paid for, and they didn't compensate you for the difference last year.
Wow, that's pretty sucky.
It's an absolute ripoff.
Because the team should at least I don't know. Vivid Seats is one thing, but
I tried to buy it directly from the Cubs.
They're just the broker.
I went onto the Cubs website. I'm stupid, but I'm not a moron.
Okay.
They put me in a lottery for the tickets that they were going to draw, and those people who won the lottery got to buy tickets for that game on that day.
Okay, so you didn't get
I'm flying all the way to Chicago to see my relatives. I don't want to be taking a chance on not being able to get a ticket to the game.
You take Southwest. Southwest got a hub right there in Chicago and a hub in Baltimore.
Who does?
Southwest Airlines. No?
Yeah, I'm flying into Midway. Yeah.
Okay, right. Douglas, what are you going to do? Are you going to go to a game?
I tried to make going to see Dunedin Blue Jays work, but it really didn't come up. But I will be at a few Daytona Tortugas games this year.
Okay,
that's the closest minor league team now, and since they moved my Kissimmee team away, which was Florida Firebirds 2 years ago, I found out that I know people who work for Daytona, and it's going to be cool. Don't worry about it.
Hey, Doug, can I ask you a stupid question?
Yeah.
The Blue Jays are going to Buffalo on June the 1st. Where's the Buffalo AAA team playing?
I think the same stadium, don't they play?
How are they doing that? You mean to tell me
I don't think they're going to Buffalo. They announced the park that they're going to. I don't think
they're going to Buffalo, but Buffalo has a AAA team. Where is the AAA? You mean to tell me that they were able to change the schedule to accommodate all Blue Jay games?
I would assume that the schedule already accommodated for them because they were there last year.
There's a weird thing going on in minor league baseball. In order to limit the amount of traveling, right? They're not playing 3-game series. They're playing 6-game series versus another team. So, like the Daytona Tortugas are playing a whole week down in St. Lucie, then they come up here. So it really wouldn't be hard this year to take a minor league team and keep them away for a week at a time.
Okay, I'm just asking a question.
I mean, it's I don't know for exact, but I know that you know if you gave them a 2-series road trip, they'd be gone for 2 weeks, and so it's a little easier to work that in now because they're doing less traveling in the minors. They're going to only make 1 bus trip a week.
Agree. I like that cup.
Mike is muted. I'm trying to talk, but happy hour on Wednesday. Don't forget it. They sent me these tumblers. They sent us 2 of them, so I always.
Hey, Andy.
Yes, I put myself on mute before I was done. Go ahead.
How many fingers do I have up in the air?
2.
For 2 weeks, I've tried to call Lenny and you on Sunday morning. No one answered the phone for an hour and a half Sunday. I got the guy on the phone and sat waiting on the line for 26 minutes, and I had to hang up before I was going to Bible study.
I have to tell you.
2 weeks in a row, I've tried to call your show without success.
Our producer is not great at answering calls. I don't think he really likes to do the call thing too much. You're not the only one. I mean, Malpal feels like they know him and don't like him because they're not very nice. Other people have told us the same thing you're saying right now.
I did.
Question. What did you want to talk about?
I've done talk radio. When I see Malpal show up on my screen, it pops up right in front of your face.
It's not us.
Merrill and I did. Two of us did sports baseball talk on WRNL in Richmond. When I see Malpal show up on my screen, I stop my discussion and answer and invite Malpal because it's a gift to have people call in, and you can't have somebody sitting there holding for 25 minutes.
Okay.
You can't do it. And you can see it because I've been in radio. I've worked in 6 radio stations. You can see that they're sitting there waiting. Huh?
Lenny will stop everything to answer the callers.
He didn't on Sunday. Okay.
He literally will just immediately just stop what he's doing and get the calls. He loves the calls.
I sat there 25 minutes after the guy.
If you can get to Lenny, but the thing is that we appreciate you calling in, but we don't answer the phone. And if we did, then we would not have a show because
the phone had been answered, but 2 weeks in a row, there was no one answering the phone for a couple of hours.
Well, what were you wanting to talk about? What did you have?
Well, no, here's my point. You all rightfully invite people to call you.
I tell them
they call and people don't answer the phone. That suppresses. Look, Matt. What's Matt? Matt's last name. Matt is grading you on the people that are calling.
Matt just gave us a raise. If you could imagine, we just got a raise.
Well, you deserve it. You deserve it because you do a good job. But when the people call, if you want people to call, you can't keep them sitting there cooling their heels for 25 minutes. Okay?
I love calls, believe me, but I tell Lenny every week, please do not beg people to call all the time because we have plenty of stuff to talk about, and I don't like begging for things. So I
get that, but if they do call, all I'm saying, if someone calls, if you don't want calls, fine, don't take calls.
We love calls. We love calls. We take them, but what are we gonna do? Our producer. Here's what I hate. Let me tell you what I hate. I hate doing reads, okay? When we come back from break and they say, here's what's happening, and I have to say, the freaking races are on today.
No, you have to pay the bills. I worked in radio. I understand that.
Finish. No. I'm not trying to send people away during my own show, okay? When they're telling me, when it says on my list, oh, go over and check it out at 9 a.m. when we're on.
At the same time you're on?
What? Why? Yes, at the same time.
No, I don't like that.
Why am I sending people? I'm not sending people away to another channel right now.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. I get you.
So that's what I don't get. But my producer, the same guy that doesn't like to answer the phones, he really doesn't think it's a big deal. He just doesn't see the point. So I just make jokes now. I just make jokes whenever.
But it causes, if he doesn't want to answer the phone, it's fine. But when Lenny gives you the phone number and you call and nobody answers, it's a bad reflection on Lenny and you, and it's not fair.
Well,
because Lenny doesn't know he's not answering the phone. So when Lenny says to call and you pick up the phone and you call, someone should answer the phone. That's
everybody sends messages to Lenny and tells him that nobody's answering the phone.
Oh, really?
Yes, and he tells Bennett, answer the phone. People are waiting on hold. People are waiting on hold. It's like when you have a conversation over and over and over again, that's pretty much what it is. It never goes anywhere. But believe me, Lenny is on your side. He always tells Bennett, please make sure you answer the calls today because, I'm going to have a lot of people calling for my birthday, he says.
But you do a wonderful show. That much is
undeniable. Can I jump in and talk once again about Jared Klenick?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Because it looks like he's actually getting called up. Now, he's got it. CBS has redone it. They said he's coming up on Thursday. That's what the reports are.
Okay.
So Sportsnet had something, but they had it wrong because they said he was coming up right then. He's going to be back. He's going to start in their homestand in Seattle. It's Pessan with CBS backing it up. So I tend to agree with that as being reasonable.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys, now, if you don't get to pick up players till Sunday, that's one thing. Luckily for everybody, we don't even need to talk about this guy anymore because we've already told you everything we think about him. In fact, we've gone full circle here. We started out saying he was coming up, then he wasn't, but we still talked about what you're going to get out of him. Joe, do you have anything else to add? Or how much are you going to spend on Kalenic? How much, like a percentage of your fab if you had a regular redraft league? Because he's going to get playing time. There's no doubt about it. Right, Douglas?
I'd say a fab of $100. I'd probably throw 10, 15 maybe.
Really?
It really depends on my outfield situation. Like now,
on your needs.
Right now, with the outfield, let's
say you had Luis Robert just get injured and you want to replace him.
If I know he's calling up, I'd be aggressive, $10, $15.
That's not enough. It's not.
Yeah, I don't think it's aggressive. That's what I'm saying.
No. Now my guys in my league, they're probably would have to go almost half of that to get them. That's how aggressive they go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. To get him, you're gonna have to spend.
So you're not getting him. So are you? Let's say how much is it? He's gonna go. Somebody in your league is gonna spend 70% of their fab on this guy.
I'd say at least 40%. At least 40%.
Yeah, I agree.
Are you willing to pay 40% of your fab for Kalenic, Malpal if you have Luis Robert on your team? You're muted. I muted you. I'm sorry. I muted you.
Yeah, Malpal, you were crinkling papers.
I muted you, dude. Sorry, but not anymore. Okay.
I would. You're gonna have to spend 60% to get him.
Are you gonna do it if you have Luis Robert on your team?
If I'm in contention to win it right now, yes.
Everybody is.
Yeah.
Mitchell.
I mean,
Douglas, go ahead.
He's available.
I was just going to say that it's like you have your fab for one reason, really, and that's to get the guy that's going to help you, and this might be your one shot.
Yeah.
So it's like you take it, spend too much, you get him. You might be right, you might be wrong, but what your real decision is this the guy I want to spend the money on, or is there somebody else coming? That's your decision.
It's all about need. That is true. Exactly. Mitchell, do you have any more to say about this guy, Kalenic? Are you willing to trade?
No, like I said, I offered Blake Snell for him, and I wanted him real bad. I would have given him more than Blake Snell for him.
Man, I wish I was.
And what I did was I woke up a sleeping dog. Is what I did.
Kalenic or Franco? I thought you said Wander Franco.
No. I offered Blake Snell even up for Kalenic with a guy that needed pitching.
Okay. And he said no. That's how bad it is.
No.
That's how bad Blake Snell is right now.
No, that's how much he realized Kalenic was worth. I woke up a sleeping dog.
You know that this guy
is going to offer CJ Cron, I would have Kalenic right now.
Okay, we got to go because we've been on for 2 hours. But
yeah, that's unfortunate. Do you want to say thank you, Joe, for showing up? Thank you for the people in the chat.
Thank you, Joe. Yes,
thanks, Joe. See you next week.
Anybody who's on the show, we always say you can always come back. Just let us know.
Nobody ever comes back though, because I don't know if it's me or Douglas. I don't know who it is. Why they don't?
I think it's Malpal.
I'm sure I did something. I always do.
He's gruff but lovable.
Maybe not.
he's gruff but lovable. They don't get past the gruff part.
We have faces. We should be on the radio, dude, instead of the TV, right?
I have a face for radio.
Love it. Mitchell, you need to do a show with your brother. I don't know what you're doing. You can come and do a show with your brother.
We are talking about that.
Okay, good. Everybody have a great night. We'll see you.
Good night.
For the rest of the week.
Bye.